This is a tape I wanted to do on Yahoo Finance since we recommend it highly for a lot of our students. And so you see, once you call it up, Yahoo, even though the mail and some of the stuff might be not as relevant as some of the stuff you see on some of the other browsers, the Yahoo Finance panel is really good and offers a lot of features that you don't normally see. So I'm impressed with it, and I think many are. So at any rate, as soon as you open it in this banner, they'll give you the general market indicators. And there you go. So if you're looking to follow any particular commodity, or you have the Japanese yen, the pound sterling, going back the 10-year bond, which we've talked about in the past, is the pure rate of interest, trading at 0.6, pretty amazing stuff. There's the price of gold, the crude oil, which has been the story lately. I'm actually taping this on April 24th, 2020, amid the coronavirus pandemic. Well, at any rate, we have stocks that you recently viewed. So this was stuff that I viewed recently. And let's say you're looking for a stock, or you're looking for a stock that you're doing a report on, or you want to purchase. So I'm going to use Ford. You hit the symbol, I happen to know it's Ford, but you could type in the name of the company, and that'll do just as well for you. And search for it. And there it is. So Ford is trading at 480, which is pretty beat. And on the summary page, we have a lot of information. We have the previous close, we have the current market, the 52-week range, which gives you an idea of how hard these stocks have been hit. The current volume, I'm doing this at about 12:30 in the afternoon. They give you actually a little indicator as to whether the stock's metrics are overvalued. So Ford carries a lot of debt, so I'm sure in this case, and there's an example, that's where they're coming up with that. Market capitalization, so Ford's worth about $19 billion as of the last sale. And if you watch my videos on beta, which is the regression between a particular company versus the S&P 500, that's in my Statistics and Finance Academy, you'll see how we calculate beta, which is regressing once again the movements in Ford versus the market. So we see that using this, and they basically tell you that they do their beta based on 5 years of monthly statistics. Why I want you to watch my video is because you could do regressions using different statistical data points. So say you want to do 3 years or 2 years. You may want to, I talk more about that in the beta, in the regression analysis, but let's assume you're watching a company that's changing right now, like a biotech company. The profile might have changed in the last year, in which case you'd want to maybe change that beta. But for any rate, for now, this is pretty good using Ford. And we see that if this market was up 1%, Ford would be up 1.3%. Predictability, right? That's a prediction based on past data. And if the market was down 1%, the beta would be down 1.3%. Not perfect, and we know regressions are not perfect, they're predictions, but it's pretty good. And so, again, I urge you to watch those videos. And you need that for the capital asset pricing model, because you wouldn't multiply beta by the rate of return on the market, which is the price earnings ratio on the market. We got the price earnings ratio in Ford. Ford has been earning money, so this thing is ridiculous. Generally speaking, the market's been returning right now about 16 times earnings, which means that investors are paying $16 for every dollar of earnings. They cut their dividend, and that was the big story. What used to pay like up to 7% dividend. And let's take a look at the chart. The chart indicates that it's bearish. And these little locks mean you got to buy the premium service, which is interesting. I tell you, it's a very good system, and I wouldn't say don't buy this. Buy the premium service. Just to go through this, you can get a chart. We'll do that in a minute. They got some conversations. I'm not nuts about those conversations. A lot of times it's just people, like any other chat room. You might get some good information on something that's new. Somebody might be on there that really knows what they're talking about. But for the most part, I'm not nuts about it. Statistics, you're getting market cap, enterprise value, and then you got your PEs and your price earnings to growth, which we'll talk about in another video. Price to book, enterprise value. So you get some pretty good stuff, and you get it in a time series, so you can kind of follow it. And you can get quarterlies. Again, to get annual and monthly, it's premium service. Historical data, there you go, and that kind of relates to the chart. And then the profile, and there's your executives, William Clay Ford. There's where it's located. Here's all your latest filings, and you can also get that on the Ford site. Here's the description, corporate governance. Okay. Financials, this is really important if you're doing a project or you just want to see how the company performs. And you're going to get their financials, revenue, the balance sheet, income statement, all the good stuff that you're going to need to get a good look at Ford. There's your income statement, there's your balance sheet. Very interesting stuff. And your statement of cash flows. So, again, I got to say Yahoo does a great job with this. But of course, the premium service is going to give you even more if you want to download the data. Okay, which you may have to do if you depending on the program you're using. Analysis, that's the analyst opinions, options. Even do something on sustainability. Take a look at the chart for a minute. Company outlook is obviously premium. All right, so the chart is definitely trending down. Let's say I want to look at the chart from a maximum standpoint. I'd hit that. Hold on. I don't know where that's up. Let's just reload this. Give me a minute. Bear with me. So once again, a little slow here. Okay, so let's look at the maximum chart for this guy. And for some reason it's being a little difficult here. Let's reload this one more time. And there's the 5-year chart. Of course, you can see where the stock has really gone ahead recently. Now, one of the things that I like about this is you could draw lines in the last year. This is how the stock acted. For some reason, this thing is pretty slow today. Okay, there it is. And there's dividend payments, so it shows you when the dividend was paid, what happened. You could put a candle chart, get an idea of how it traded high and low. Okay. You can draw on it if you wanted to make your own notes. You can change the date range, events. Now say we want to compare Ford to the Dow or the S&P 500. And we'll save it and notice how it has diverged from the S&P 500. So that's a pretty good look. Interesting. You got to play with it like you do in any program. But it'll help you do your reports. It'll help you try to calculate the capital asset pricing model. It actually gives you indices, and I should tell you this. What's nice about this, we're going to go back to the chart for I say I have this chart up. I can actually download the data. So you call that up. I share the chart. There's usually a spot here to download data. So you just call up the historical data behind this, and you could change that. You could change the time period. You could change the prices. You just you could change the frequency. We can look at it on a weekly basis. Let's call it up on a weekly basis. We'll apply it. So that's Ford per week. I mean, that's the S&P per week. I'm sorry. And then you can download the data, and you can manipulate it in one of your and actually programs such as R and Stata, and they will give you commands to download the Stata directly. You do have to manipulate it and clean it up like any other time you download data, but at least it's available.